Welcome. Tonight's talk, which is the last main speaker of the SLMOOC for April 2015, will be given by Andy Wheelock. And before I tell you talk about his biography, let me say that the title of his talk tonight, which will be given in Second Life, is The Islands of Enlightenment, an Open Sim Adventure. Andy Wheelock is a technological innovator who has worked in several virtual worlds to bring history to life to school kids. He loves learning, reading, and hockey. He's the lowly High Grand Poobah of the International Society's Technology in Education's Virtual Education Network and the co-founder of Virtual Pioneers, who meet 2 Sundays a month to travel around Second Life and other virtual worlds to see the incredible and engaging builds of educators and innovators and library curators and so on. I have put the SL URL for the Virtual Pioneers building in the chat, as well as the websites of some of his most interesting work, the work that he'll be talking about. So I'll be leaving this class and meeting you in Second Life. Here we go.
I'll get rolling. Welcome, everyone. My name is Andy Wheelock, Smith Whitfield here in Second Life. I hope I want to just welcome you all. Thank you for coming out. Most of my working here in Second Life is with a group called the Virtual Pioneers, and where we're standing is their headquarters. And if you're ever interested, we pretty much run history and culture tours every other Sunday. And if you want to check out our website, islandsoe.weebly.com, and you can find our events and where we're going to go for that week. And you stop by on Sunday night, and it's 5 p.m. Second Life time, and 8 p.m. Eastern. So we'd love to have anyone who'd like to come. They're free, and they're really primarily a group of educators that are interested in history and culture. So the places we go, we try and focus on that. And if you look at our website, you'll see some of our past tours and some of the places we've gone, and hopefully some of the places we will go. I wanted to talk to you this evening about some projects that I've been doing in K-12, actually probably 6-12. And we call these projects the Islands of Enlightenment. And, the thinking behind it is we wanted to, enlighten a couple different major objectives. Our first objectives, I don't know if people are familiar with the SAM-R model for thinking about technology and education today. And, if you think of it, SAMR is the acronyms, and it's almost like a Bloom's taxonomy for technology use. And if you looked at kind of the first letter, S stands for substitution, and that's when we use kind of technology just kind of as a substitute for something we already do. And not to say that there's really anything wrong with that. It's just a kind of quick and easy way to use technology. And a good example of that might be in the past in school, we've used paper and pencil to write an essay. Well, you can use technology now, something like, say, a Google Doc and a Chromebook, to actually type the essay on a computer and then print it out that way. So that's kind of the early stages, I think, of technology adoption, is just, using technology as a substitute for things we already do. We're not really, in many cases, we may not even be saving time, but we're just doing it in a different way. Same concept. Well, the top level of the whole SAMR concept is, forgetting the word, redefinition. That's the word I'm looking for. Is to actually use technology to redefine how we teach kids. So using technology to totally think outside the box and create something new. So if we were to think about the projects that I've done here, and I say I loosely, it's really been a team, and I'll talk about all the people that have been involved. You'll see that we've really defined how we can have kids think and learn about education, and virtual worlds are really cutting edge in that way. We are maybe seed to the choir, but I think we need to be advocates of urban environments for education because most technologies, a fear around it, they're necessary, and so we need to really advocate for those. We have projects, and we need to really be able to talk about great things. I think when we frame virtual worlds and the notion that we're taking technology to new heights and we're redefining how kids can learn and be assessed and be creative, I think parents will start listening. And I think, I think, and sorry for the audio, I'm not sure what's going on. I can change mics if I need to. I think when we talk about, okay, sorry, I must have just bumped something. But I think if we think about technology in new ways and we talk about, and if you look at, say, Minecraft, I think Minecraft is starting to open the eyes of even parents. And that's really, I think, the number one advocate that we need is we need to get parents. We need to get parents as advocates for virtual environments, and hopefully Minecraft has kind of been the initial change. So I think that's our first step. Is Minecraft, I think, has opened parents' eyes to what virtual environments can do, and that kids are actually learning through Minecraft, and they can go even further and learn through OpenSim. So let me just check. I'm sorry, I'm kind of lost track of some of the comments. Is my audio okay now? Okay. All right, so I had a really nice Microsoft Sway presentation, and I don't know if anyone has seen Microsoft Sway yet. If you just go to sway.com, it's a really great way to make some high-powered presentations, and I put one together, and only to find out that when I tried bringing it here and putting it on a prim, it didn't play very nicely with it. So I had to go with plan B, but I did create this way, and I believe Maggie has it on the note card. So I really just encourage you to see it. If you go to this way on the note card, and maybe I can just quickly put it into our screen here so you can check it out. It looks something like, again, feel free to follow along. That's what I wanted to use for my presentation tonight. It really creates a nice little storyboard. I'm just going to put it down here into, oh, there we go. Yep, there it is. So again, feel free to check that out. You really can kind of scroll through it and see some of the links and things I wanted to talk about. But it's a really nice little dynamic way of presenting, and unfortunately it doesn't work very well in Second Life right now. But again, I have a plan B, and the plan B is to show you really our project website, because that really puts together all of the things we've done. So again, with the big idea of changing the way we help kids learn and using the SAMR redefinition concept, we're actually really trying to push the envelope of how kids interact and learn. And I think there's so much power there. And I think what we've done with this project is, I think, a resounding success in many ways. I mean, we had challenges, don't get me wrong. We had crashes in the world. We had, the server not being able to handle the, memory requirements, and we had to tinker and play and do all those things that happen. So again, we did have those, but I think the most beautiful moments, and I wish I could show those, but of course, those are the things where you're not supposed to, videotape kids and post kids' looks, but the looks on the kids' faces were really, that's where the magic happened. And we want to capture those lightning bolt moments, and again, that's what we need to see. And I think that's what parents started seeing with Minecraft, is seeing that spark of just enthusiasm and building and creating, and just all of that sort of thing. So we've gone through 3 projects, and I do want to give New York State Department of Education credit. We did apply for a grant through New York State Department of Education and received it. So that helped us offer this program. It helped pay for the server. It helped pay for my time. It helped pay for the professional development materials. It helped pay for my travel to go out to the different schools that were part of this grant. So we had just a real, I don't know what's the best kind of way to, we had real support from New York City, the best way I want to put it. So I do want to give them credit, and then I had a team of people. So let's just talk about the project, and if you want to just look at, I'll follow along here on our website and walk you through there. But our first project, we had three. The first project was 3 years ago, and we started off, I wanted to start off with something big for the project. And what bigger, I guess, theme can you come across as the tragedy of the Holocaust, of World War II. So we started there, and I started with a very simple premise and a powerful premise of trying to get students to understand the Holocaust in a new way. That's a very challenging topic, a very challenging, thing to wrap things around. So we thought we'd try and wrap it in one of the most classic novels or autobiographies of the time, which was Diary of Anne Frank, Diary of a Young Girl, Anne Frank. And we wanted to do that with respect, but we also wanted to, of course, have kids have a sense of something different. So it was a really fine line to play, but I think we captured it. And what we did was we recreated the streets of Amsterdam, 1944, and the block where Anne Frank was in hiding. So the students were able to walk through the diary or walk through as a companion piece, the diary and some of the details, and they could actually get what we consider a mind's eye look. And if I click on this photos page, you'll see some of the photos we have, and these are throughout the different worlds. But if you look through some, let me just go down here. So this one is, again, streets of Amsterdam, student taken picture. You can see the canal boats. This is our welcome center. So students actually got an orientation, and that's where we talked about things about being respectful, being in 1944 outfits. We talked about the rules about not harassing people, bumping into them, and I guess, to be honest with you, the rule that was most broken, it was actually an interesting one. It was building. So students were building in places they shouldn't. And, especially with the Anne Frank build, we wanted to keep it the look and feel of the environment. And so here's, the warehouse of the secret annex, which is the Opekta company. So, oops, that's a student build there. Oh, there's our science build. Let me just bounce out for a sec, see if I can get to some of the other Anne Frank pictures. So here's some more. Again, these are some student builds. That's our orientation center again. Oops, this is our second project, so I'll come back to those pictures. But just if you can get a feel, the students were able to walk through the diary of Anne Frank, read the book. Again, that's the essential piece of it. And then they were actually able to go back and just get a visual representation of the annex and Anne's experience. And then the students, worked through Common Core based lessons, and the final lessons, one was to create an exhibit in a virtual Holocaust museum. So we wanted to encourage the notion that kids are curators. So they were to become a museum curator and create an exhibit. And the first exhibits the kids did were really basically just PowerPoints that they brought in world. So that was kind of their simplest recreation. But we eventually got to the point where kids were creating, World War II airplanes. They were creating, book burning displays. They were creating, they were highlighting Nazi propaganda stuff. I mean, it was really, it literally brings tears to your eyes when you saw that the kids were building and creating and thinking of new ways to represent, the tragedies that happened and think of elements of the book. So it really, we wanted that, we expected it, and we got that level of creativity and just a different way of representing things. And we also had them writing. We had them, they did reflection candles where they created, where they had to write an essay in a reflection candle. So when somebody clicked on the candle, much like the Washington, D.C. Museum, the U.S. Memorial Holocaust Museum, they were able to see an essay written by a student about their learning about the Holocaust. And again, the writing was really good. It was really solid. And we were just so pleased that we got what we wanted out of it. And actually, here's the reflection area. I can just click that picture. So this is the reflection area at the end, and this is where students, you can see kind of in the background here, you'll see some of the little candles. And if you go up there, they're lit candles. And when you touch them, you get one of the students' essays. So again, it was everything we wanted with the learning and more. And we're just really happy with that. Someone mentioned the video. Whoops. Just back up here. The video that we created, one of the students actually, we had an exchange student from the Netherlands. And I'd be kind of proud to show that video if people haven't seen it. She did the narration for me. This was actually a video I created. It was a starter video that I wanted the students to see and just kind of introduce the story, but I think it was really powerful. I just love the way it came out. Let me see if we can get it loaded up here. You may want to, we can just put it out here in chat, but all the videos are on the screen and on our project website. And for those of you, let's see. So yeah, if we're filming, I don't want to take up too much time if there's going to be some dead space here. But I encourage you to take a look at the film. I was really proud of it. The narration came off really good. Again, that's just one more extension of the learning.
Sometimes it takes great courage to run. Sometimes it takes great ingenuity to hide. Sometimes, despite all efforts, hatred and cruelty can find you. And sometimes, hope, love, and sacrifice will conquer all and endure. But we must be vigilant. The Understanding the Holocaust Project.
To understand this project, you
must understand its motivation, its genesis. To do that, I've created a one-slide presentation. Yes, one slide, one title, one picture says it all. This picture is of a box of rings. Rings taken from Holocaust victims at Buchenwald concentration camp. At first blush, you may look at this picture and think, wow, that's a lot of rings. You may reflect further that it is, by extension, a lot of victims. Yet what this project is really all about, essentially about, is that the rings represent so much more. Many of us have rings. With few exceptions, rings are a token of wonderful things. Weddings, friendships, anniversaries, loved ones past. During our quietest moments, we think of our rings and reflect on these good memories and times. They are our hopes, dreams, and happy times. Yet here in this picture, we see a box of rings. But don't we see more? When we think deeply about this picture, we come to understand that here lies people's hopes and dreams, shattered by hatred and cruelty, still hard to fathom. You see, to understand history, to love history, to appreciate all its meaning and nuances, we must see into it. We must look into history through our own mind's eye. And that is what this project is all about. It is not just about learning about the Holocaust, but as the title suggests, understanding the Holocaust. It is this team's wholehearted belief that by giving kids the tools to view history simulations through a virtual environment, that it will give them one more layer of understanding as to the context and mind's eye view that is essential to deeper understanding, and by extension, the essential higher order understandings of compassion, of bias, of bullying, of power, of leadership, and on and on. On this site are the elements of this project. Let me finish this audio with one quote that I came across from watching television on a rainy Saturday. From the movie Mr. Megorium's Wonder Emporium, unlikely adventures require unlikely tools. And I mentioned that it really was a group of people that all came together. And for those of you who know Serena Off Course here in Second Life, she was a huge person that was a builder. And let me just bring up the team here. So if you look at this, we had, really Serena, there she is. Mary O'Brien was an amazing builder and contributor. Kim Prentice also did some of the canal boats, and he did a replica train car. Kim Flack from PBS 8 was a really big supporter and helper. She got us PBS resources that were embedded into the site. And again, we have our tech guy, Chris. We've got our curriculum people, Darlinda and Susanna. And there was just, it's just an amazing team of people. And we even had, some people from Buff State who run the Anne Frank project, Drew Kahn. He came on board and did some just wonderful work, and Eve Everett, who played Anne Frank in their production. I'm going to try going to one of the different projects. How's that? So the final two projects of the Understanding of the Holocaust were, I think, some of the most powerful learning and representations of the learning that we did. One of the first ones was having the kids, we had a kind of Holocaust museum where we encouraged the kids to create an exhibit. So they became a museum curator of a sense, which again is a real world skill and a real world way of getting people to think about a concept in a different way. It started out, kids pretty much did a simple PowerPoint that they brought in world and displayed. And that was great. I mean, that was another way of representing, but it really, again, if we think of that SAMR concept, that was really just kind of a substitute, something we already do. We're just doing it in virtual worlds. But the really great part is when they started building, and after a while, the kids started creating, World War II airplanes. They created a book burning display that had, a fire and books in the book burning display. They had, Nazi propaganda. They had a display of a, Nazi flag and a post. And so they took it to the next level, which is where we wanted to. And again, we wanted students to start demonstrating their learning in a redefined way. And that was super powerful. And it was, great for them because it pushed their creativity, it pushed their building skills, it pushed their conceptual frameworks of taking an important concept in a horrible time period in American or world history and putting that in a different way. So that was really powerful. And then combining that with the other assignment we did, which was the reflection candle, the students actually went in world. They created an essay about their learning about from the diary and from the project and from all the different things they did. And then they wrote a reflection piece that other students could come along, click the candle, and then they would get their essay. So it was, and again, the writing started off kind of simple at first, but by the second and third year of doing the project, it just, the writing was beautiful and the writing was powerful. And the writing really hit home the concepts that we wanted students to learn from the book about, the horrors, the fear, the tragedy, the hatred that all, came together in one, just tragic event in world history. So beautiful. I think all of the learning that went on there, we redefined how students learned about history and changed the way they developed it, but really pulled away the essential elements that we wanted them to. I mentioned before, I mean, it's really a team. A team came together on this. We're educators, and we really don't do anything alone, and we shouldn't. But I had just a wonderful group of people from, Carm Sites who helped me get things rolling. My boss, who thought it was totally crazy and bonkers, but Juliana Shalina that said, okay, we'll give you the startup money to at least get this on a server. Mary O'Brien, if you know Serena, off course here in Second Life, she's an amazing builder. She did so much building for us for free, along with Kim Prentice from Australia. Never met him before, but he offered to do the canal boats. And he also offered to do our second project, which was the Heir of the King. Kim Fleck from PBS 8, she gave us just tons of, she got us the permission to use PBS materials from the Diary of Anne Frank, the TV, Masterpiece Theater build. Chris Poet, who's my tech guy, who speaks a whole different language of tech and makes sure things run, and if the island crashes, brings it back up. And then some great curriculum people from Darlinda McTuck and Susanna Renzi. And then if you watch the movie, Sophie de Paide from the Netherlands, she did our narration for us, and she also did a lot of Inside the World. We had Anne Frank. We had Sophie reading the diary in Dutch, which would have been Anne's native language, and also in English, so the kids could hear the Dutch language as well as hear, Dutch speaking. So, and then also Drew Kahn and Eve Everett from Buffalo State. They're part of the drama department there, but they've created a whole conference based around Anne Frank, and they did a lot of stuff for us, including just putting us on the map, having us do presentations at Buff State. They're just wonderful people, and we've been a part of that conference for the past 3 years. And just proud to know those people. They're doing just wonderful work in their own right. So, and they've been huge supporters of the project. So with that, again, there's so much there, and I would encourage you, if you could, to watch the videos that are part of this. Again, I did the kind of starter video with Sophie, and I'm just really happy with how it came out, and happy that Sophie contributed to it. Again, I'm just grateful for all the people that are part of this, even though a lot of them thought this was the craziest idea ever, but it came together. So, so year 2 of our project, and you just see if this will load up. Is people able to see? Let me see if I can get this. Oh, there we go. Let me do. Okay. Let's see if I can get out to this website. Don't, maybe not. Let me. Okay, so this is the Understanding the Holocaust project. All right, the Heir of the King isn't loading up. Let me just see if I can put it in world. It's just going to be HTTP and heiroftheking.weebly.com.
A long time ago, in a faraway land, there was a noble king who, in the darkest days of war, feared for the future of his kingdom. Upon the birth of his only child, he had his most trusted advisor spirit the child away to shield the young baby from harm. And lo and behold, the knights of the kingdom fought valiantly over 10 years and ultimately defeated their enemy to once again bring peace upon the land. But sadly, the king was lost in the final battle. So what of the king's heir? 4 people suddenly appear at the castle, all claiming to be the rightful heir. Each has a telling tale, but which one could be the rightful heir of the king? You must decide.
To be a medieval role play where students work through, and I think I presented about this last year, along with my colleague Mary Howard, and Mary was going to try and get in World tonight, but got bogged down with the never-ending life running around taking kids here and there. So, but just to give you a sample of this, the Heir of the King was meant to be based on an Arthurian-type legend where there's a medieval kingdom that the king dies but has an heir that is, has been a secret heir. So 4 people show up to the castle, all claiming to be the rightful heir of the throne. And it's up to the students using kind of a quest-based experience to solve the mystery of who the heir of the king is. And again, Mary did a lot of just fantastic work putting together the quests and all of the ways. We really wanted to lead the kids on a technology adventure as well as a medieval adventure. So each quest kind of gave them higher order tech skills, as well as help them learn about medieval society and the caste system and lords and ladies and all of that amazing stuff. It's a beautiful project, and again, it took some real wonderful help and work. And Kim Prentice, who I mentioned before from Australia, he built the entire castle and medieval area for us. And then again, we had a group of teachers that came in and put together the finishing touches. We had the drama students from Buff State actually played the characters, and they did some video movies of the characters, so that the kids got to meet the different heirs, and they had they took what they got from the videotapes of them, and of course the drama kids used their best English accents and all that stuff. So it was really fun, and we were just so proud that the kids came in, and the students helped it. And Mary's been using this mostly with her students in 6th grade, and so they really learn about medieval history, and it's an amazing sight to see, and it's amazing to see the kids just dig into it. And when I go there to see her students, it's just so fun to see them just, again, learning, the excitement, the just passion for doing something different. And, so again, I just want to stress that, this type of learning is really, I think it's so essential, and it's being lost, it's being buried in all the other kind of craziness of what's been going on with so much reform. I think it's been our biggest challenge, is really trying to get these type of projects. I think teachers want to embrace them, but the fear factor is just preventing them from going. So yeah, there's Mary's picture. So again, Mary was a huge part of building that. The quests in that, and she powers it through Edmodo. So yeah, that's been a huge challenge for us. And again, I think it's challenging in just pushing the boundaries of technology all the way around. And it comes back to that whole SAMR model. I think if teachers are going to use technology, they use it just to kind of substitute something that they're already doing. So going from pencil and paper to, a word processing document. So again, it's not they don't want to. It's just, with the task-driven culture, I think they're just really trying to focus on those the kind of tried and true things that they've been doing. So. Survival, yes. All right, so let me move on. I know got 15 minutes, I think, to work through. But again, I do want to just tell you there's the group of teachers that are part of it, and there's a whole nother group of teachers that are part of it for this year. We're going to update this website to get them on there. But if you want to see some of the tutorials, you can certainly go through there. We've got the tutorials, and you can see the heirs. Also, just on the home page, there's a really nice little video that Shannon Logan had helped me create. She did a really nice voice work for that, just to set up the storyline. So that's where that went. So now getting back to my home site here, if I can go back to the islands here. Our project for this year, we're just getting into it, and it's called the Learning Through Virtual Design Project. And for some reason, I can't get this one up. Yeah, let's see here. All right, let me see if I can just grab the link outside here. And I'll put it into, there we go. So here's our link, and I'll put it in local chat for you. There it is. And I'll also put it up here on my screen here. Here we have one of Frank Lloyd Wright's homes. That's the Darwin Martin House. And you can see there's the group of teachers, and we're there at the Darwin Martin House complex. The Darwin Martin House was built by Frank Lloyd Wright. It was one of his early designs, one of his favorite designs. They like to say that the plans for the Darwin Martin House were in Frank Lloyd Wright's office, and often considered what he thought of as his opus, one of his greatest designs. So what we did with this is the Darwin Martin House people, the complex, were wonderful, wonderful, wonderful people, and they were so gracious. And there we go. But the people at the Darwin Martin House, they gave us tours. They let us work in the gardener's cottage, so it was really wonderful, especially fall and winter. We got to work inside the gardener's cottage, which was an extension of the Darwin Martin House. It was where the gardener obviously lived. It was built as part of the complex, but the house is just a beautiful old house, again, designed by Frank Lloyd Wright. So we were able to do work on the project right within the complex, which added just a real beauty to the project itself. I loved those days going to work because, we had coffee, we had, snacks, and here we are right in the middle of, a Frank Lloyd Wright design. So what we did is the students come to the Darwin Martin House, they learn about the principles of architecture, they learn about prairie-style architecture, and then their goal is to actually build their own, using some of the elements they learned, to build their own design. And again, we're right in the heart of that. I wish Mary was here because she's had her students going. She was just telling me today that the students were just so excited. They're so excited to build. There's just such a passion and love for building, but they were really, we've had kids build before, and their builds are just really kind of fantastical and kind of goofy, which is wonderful in its way. But we also wanted them to try and start thinking, architecture really is about beauty and function and pulling in history. And it's really about pulling all those elements together in just a magical package. And so we really wanted to focus the kids on thinking beyond themselves and thinking we know what you would like. You would like, just a gamer's heaven with, a bunch of sports pictures all over the wall. But what would someone else like? And that's, again, a skill that we want kids to learn, is to think outside themselves and to create something of beauty and value using architectural principles. So the kids are really excited about that. We're going to take them on a tour of the Darwin Martin House. So we're really excited again about that. So that was our year 3. We're in the heart of it. It's really designed to get students building and thinking about architecture in new ways and hopefully have some fun with it. And then, this is the end of our 3-year grant. I'll be, hopefully, fingers crossed, applying for the extension of it and getting some more grant funds just to help save money for schools that want to do this. And our next frontier is actually inspired by a lot of what's going on here in Second Life. And if you're not familiar with some of the latest builds that are going on with Second Life, I don't know if you've seen the sim Buried. But Buried is basically a mystery where you're trying to solve a mystery of a girl who's lost, and you have to go through different clues to try and, you know, hopefully solve the crime and find the girl. And so just using that concept, I think there's some great possibilities as far as having teachers kind of create their own mystery. And certainly we don't want to create a gruesome mystery per se. But I wanted to leave it somewhat open-ended so that teachers could really take off with it. And I think there's so much power in, you know, I think again today, in today's climate of reform, there's really not much room for teachers to do their own creation. So we wanted to bring it to a point where teachers feel like they're contributing and creating and doing something totally different outside of the box and making their own, you know, making it their own, to put their own stamp on it. So what we're going to do for next year is a project called The Broken Land, and I'll put it into chat here. And you can just take a look at, you know, the starter segment for it. So that's where I work, and that's what we're going to do for next year, is bring a group of teachers together that want to be there. We're going to talk about game design, what it's all about, how we can create a mystery, and then actually have the teachers really do the hard work of putting together a mystery together. And, you know, we're going to try and use the theme of dystopian society to start off with, but then really take it from there for the next, you know, 2 years, is each year try and create their own twist on a mystery. And I also wanted to explore the concept of art, because I think one of the great things about Second Life now, if you've seen some of the beautiful artistic builds here, you're seeing artists crop up in Second Life, and they're creating whole islands of work. You can create basically an art exhibit here in Second Life using some fantastic mesh models, and the artwork that's going on here, I think, is not being maybe as highlighted as it should. So what I wanted to do is to try and recreate some works of art within a virtual world. But the beauty of creating an art exhibit here in Second Life is that other people get to take advantage of that art, not just by looking at it, but actually, well, they could create, which is actually add to the art, or they could take pictures of the art. And think of it, every person has a different perspective on what an art you know, exhibit looks like. They could take pictures that each person's going to take a different picture with different angles and different lighting and different focus. And so I like to think of it, it's like art creating art. It's art reproducing art. And the great thing is the artists, that's what the artist's intent is for people to take their art and and not just copy it, but to take the art and put a new twist on it in their own way. So I love that concept, and I think that's such a powerful concept. First of all, you know, photography teachers or art teachers could teach about photography and perspective and just artistry in general, but let kids create it. And, you know, think about it. Then you can make slideshows or posters or whole different concepts that you wouldn't be able to do in a traditional art museum. Most art museums, you walk in and the only thing you can do is just look at it, which is wonderful and magical in a lot of ways. But now we can actually go to an art museum and create your own art off of it. So wrapping things up, I'm just I'm so pleased with how these projects came out. I think there's a long way to go. I mean, we're just scratching the surface as far as getting, I guess, publicity and getting you know, buy-in from people beyond just the teachers that are, you know, your early adopters. So again, we're putting these together. The magic that we see with the kids is worth every ounce of trial and error and work. I think there's such possibilities, and I truly believe that we're getting to that. I'm hoping that we'll reach a tipping point where just the dam opens and people start realizing what powerful ways we can help kids learn. And again, using that SAMR model to redefine education for our kids. And this will do it, and Minecraft will do it. And there's just, we've got such potential. I think we're close. I think we need to just keep advocating. And I really believe that we, as teachers, need to promote ourselves and promote our work and promote great projects. And not be so afraid. So Thank you so much for your time. I wish Mary was here to also talk, to add her 2 cents, but feel free to look Mary up. She's very receptive, and I think you all know Serena, and feel free to tag her. They're just wonderful teachers, and I'm so um, uh, inspired to have met all the people that I've met through this project. And I thank you for listening to it. And next time we're going to try and spice up this project in some way to make it so it's not just me talking, but you really envisioning. So hopefully next time we can actually bring it in virtual world. And if you want to connect with me, I'd be happy to set you up with a educator avatar. And you can come in and check out things. So I'd be happy to have you, to give you a tour sometime. And again, there's kids in world. So if you want to see them in action, as long as you've got an education background, we can get you in and have you checking things out. And please stay tuned. All right. And thank you for your patience.